welcome to this week's episode of Two Guys and Some Horror. Oh boy, do we have a film for you today. Boys and girls, we have our favorite guest. I'm just kidding, we can't say that because that's actually kind of mean to all of our other guests. But
I mean, it's Trudeau.
It's Trudeau. We have Mimic coming back to join us for his second episode. And we're discussing a film that him and I both actually really like a lot. It's my absolute favorite. I'll let Mimic talk a little bit more about why he loves it so much. But the movie that we're discussing is Scream from 1996. Mimic, why did you want to be on the episode? A, why did you want to be on the show again? And B, why didn't you want to come do Scream with us?
What's your favorite scary movie? That's what, because fucking Scream is my favorite scary movie. Regardless of how good or bad my Ghostface impression is. I enjoyed the first time I was on the podcast, and Scream, when Curtis, you were first posting on Twitter and like postulating about having the podcast, it was the first recommendation that popped to mind. And I know after talking to you, you like Scream a whole lot, and it's one of my favorites. I really appreciate self-aware humor, comedy, and just like dialogue as this movie puts a lot of. I appreciate that a lot. So I think just all the little quirks of the movie make it so awesome. Really love it. I've seen it, I mean, 50 to 100 times probably.
Yeah,
Only 50 to 100?
I can't put a number. I don't know.
Also, hi everyone. I'm Clark, the other co-host of the show. That's Curtis.
Hey, we invited
beautiful
Clark
hero.
back for another episode of Two Guys and Some
Yeah,
Horror.
they invited me back as well. So I'm glad that you love this movie, Curtis. I want to hear a little bit more from you though. Like, I want to hear more from kind of the both of you. Like, what draws you into the meta commentary? Because this is I'll talk about it later, but I kind of wanted to dig into your side.
Okay, so real quick, the reason why I love this movie so much is it is the first horror movie I ever fell in love with. I actually just tweeted about this today on April 21st. If you guys want to go take a look on our Twitter, it is the number 2 Guys Horror Pod. And I actually mentioned why I love this movie so much, which is when I was a young lad. So this movie came out in 96. I would have only been, I don't know, 7, I think at the time is what I said. And I remember actually watching it probably about when I was 10. So not right when it came out, obviously. But we probably rented it from a Blockbuster or Hollywood Video at that time. And then it was after school one day, I just popped in the tape and watched it. And I just remember the phone ringing while I was watching the movie in that opening scene with Drew Barrymore. And it just really creeped me out. Like, I got that feeling of, oh my God, someone could be watching me, or oh my God, this could really be happening to me right now. And I was only 10, so it was even more heightened probably at that time. But for me, that's really what solidified my love for horror was this film, this writing, and this director. Yeah, Mimi, what do you think?
I mean, I probably about the same story. This is one of the first horror movies I remember watching. I mean, there was a couple ones like my dad made me watch when I was younger, but this is one of the ones I really can remember a whole lot. And I love Ghostface as a killer. I think he's so creepy, but also like so realistic and not as like far out there as a lot of the other slasher villains, like like your Michael or Jason or Freddy or whatever. He's really there, and it's just I just love it. I really do. And then I've always appreciated, like I said earlier, more meta commentary, self-awareness, and this movie has that in spades. So, yeah, I really love it.
Sweet. Clark, you mentioned you had a different reasoning, or you had something you wanted to talk about why you liked this movie?
What? What? It's okay. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
I feel like this is something I'm still trying to figure out in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of want to talk about the movie itself. Let's kind of dig into the meta commentary. Let's dig into the beef.
Perfect. So
Meat.
our director is Wes Craven, the Wes Craven. Our writer is the Kevin Williamson, and we have a smattering of stars throughout this film, so we're not really going to break down all of them. The budget in 96 was 14 million, and the body count was 7 total kills. Story's pretty simple. It's not like it's really that hard to grasp. After a year after the murder of Sydney's mother, she then gets terrorized by a new killer who targets her and her friends by using horror films as part of their deadly game. So that seems just a little too generic to me. There's so much more to this movie than what that synopsis or that quick synopsis kind of tells you. So, like you said, we can start unpacking it and breaking it up. I have 2 fun segments that I want to do to kind of discuss the film. The first is a little bit of trivia. So I have 7 trivia questions for Mimic and for Clark. And I will be keeping score so we can know who gets the most.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, when you guys are both ready, let me know and I'll ask the first question.
I'm ready.
I'm ready as well, my friends.
Perfect. First question.
Let's get this on the road.
First question is, what is the name of the first character to die in the movie? Bonus points if you remember her boyfriend's name and what she was cooking on the stove.
Casey Becker, Steven Popcorn.
Okay. I should have probably figured out a way to give both people time to secretly answer me. Yeah. Did you know those 3? I didn't know how we were going to
handle that.
Did you know those 3?
No, I just knew Casey and Steve.
Casey, Steve, no popcorn. Got it. Okay. You guys both have Discord up?
Sure.
Because what I was going to say is you guys can both just message me your answers directly, and then I can keep you guys honest.
Yeah. Let's give the audience time to answer as well, if they want to participate.
Yeah, I'll give them some radio edit buffering.
Let's do the audience a favor, and we're going to start from scratch here. It's definitely not to tie me up with Mimic again, so I have a chance.
Perfect.
Okay,
so,
what that was our warm up question,
yes, exactly
the game in the first opening scene.
So, to break down that scene real quick, right? We have Casey Becker hanging out. She's watching some horror movies, making some popcorn. We assume she's waiting on her boyfriend Steve to come over. And she gets that first phone call. And the moment that initial ring happens in the film and Drew Barrymore's voice answers, I know I'm in my happy place. Like I just know I'm watching the movie that I love. We're going to move on to the next question. Question number 2. How many years has it been since Sydney's mother, Maureen Prescott, died? Now, for those of you at home, please take a moment, have your guess. I'm going to let the chats roll in, and then, we'll tally up the scores. I have Clark's. Clark is wrong. I've got Mimi's. Mimi's right. It was 1 year. 1 year, not 2, Clark. Close
I knew it was 1. I was just like, you know what?
A year ago.
I'm doubting myself here. I'm just gonna go for 2. And
I appreciate that.
Self-sabotage.
Stop doubting yourself. Okay.
Yeah, believe, Clark.
Believe. Question number 3, which is also how the kids grow up and beat it in chapter 2. Spoiler alert. Question number 3.
Better than the orgy, I guess.
I don't know, man. Who is the actor who played Principal Arthur Himbry? Chat me your answers. Folks at home, think about it. Let it simmer. Let it marinate. Wow, answers are already rolling through. Nice job. Best buddy with a score. Clark and Mimi both get the point. It was Henry Winkler. All right. Question number 4. This is a hard one, I think, if you weren't paying attention in the movie. But here we go. How old is Deputy Dewey? He gives the answer. He says it. It's in a quote. Wow. Okay, Mimic with another score. Okay, Clark with a score as well. Nice job, guys. He was, in fact, 25.
25.
I was 24 for a whole year.
A whole year?
Nice job.
Whole year. Whole year. Old enough to get some of that Corny Cox action.
By the way, for the listeners at home,
in this movie, trust me.
Mimic and Clark both sent the year. of his age, and then both sent the same quote or similar quote, just phrased differently. Like, this is great. I'm loving this.
This is the first time I've seen this movie, by the way.
And you're doing phenomenal.
So far.
Question number 5. What fictional character does Tatum call Ghostface in the garage scene just before being killed?
Oh, fuck.
Okay, we got an answer rolling in. It's from Clark. Ooh, Stu is not a fictional character. Fug is also not a fictional character. The answer is Cut It, Casper. That's a wrap.
Oh, fuck.
And I thought it was funny because he's Ghostface, and I even, yeah, I thought it was good. Fug boy. Question number 6. What horror movie is on while Randy explains the rules of a horror movie?
Man.
Yes. And yes, great job. The movie that was on is 1979's Halloween, and both guys got the point. And the final... Go ahead, yeah.
No, it's just the best Halloween horror movie in general. Avi.
Yeah. And the final trivia question for today's game, we'll make it 2 points because that'll give Clark the chance to make that comeback. What scene from Halloween is happening when Billy finds Sidney in the hall closet? And both players once again get it correct. It's the closet scene.
Easy mode.
Yep.
Easy
Oh
mode.
man, nice job. Nice job.
I shot in the dark there. Jeez.
Well, you got it, so that's all that
Yeah.
matters. Unfortunately, because of your early fluffs, you did not quite outlast Mimic. Mimic takes the win with 9 points to 7. Still
This
very
is the
good.
first time I've ever outlasted a partner, so.
Oh man, no, Mimic deserves the win here. Well, everybody give him a round of applause.
Yes, please.
Please
also-
put some sound effects
Yes.
in there. A large cheer.
This episode is
cut
going to
this.
have a lot more audio bits added, by the way, to kind of fill that dead air while we're waiting, or, tell us what you think. Like, do you like the little sound effects that I add to, the episode? Because we can do a lot more of that in the future as well.
I want that applause to be as thunderous as a Brazilian soccer game win.
Okay, I'll do my best. I'll get as many vuvuzelas going as I can.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear.
I make all my own sound effects, guys. Trust me.
All right, so some things that I
Let's
love
go.
to ask whenever I'm in control of an episode is, who's your favorite character? So, Mimic, then Clark. Give me who your favorite character is, why you like them so much.
Stu. Fucking Stu. Far and away. Matthew Lillard gives, such a phenomenal performance. His energy, absolutely controls every single scene he's in. And, I love him. He's so good. He's so good in this movie.
What's your favorite line from Stu?
Houston,
we have a
got a problem here.
Nice. Mine from him is, I'm feeling a little woozy here.
Cut me deep. I'm feeling woozy here.
man.
All right, Clark, who is your favorite character and why?
Oh man, who is my favorite character? How about you? You come back to me after you share your favorite character, Curtis. Is that okay?
It's unfair. I mean, mine's actually Stu as well.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I think, and Mimic said exactly what I love about him so much is the delivery of his lines, the just, especially his final moments. Those are my favorite lines. It's possibly the best acting or inflection in this film, is those final moments from him. Yeah, there's a smattering of great actors in this film, right? I said that at the very beginning, so I don't want to say everyone else sucked. But I just think Stu did such an amazing job at the end that I can't like anybody else more.
I can't disagree, but at the same time, I do want to put some light on the fourth wall breaking character, Casey.
Okay.
I feel like Casey was he was kind of necessary to move the plot forward and show that hey these are the rules of the horror movie, and we're going to subvert those rules a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I would say she is, I guess, my favorite opening from any Screen film in the franchise. For
I
sure.
mean Billy, sorry, not Casey.
Oh, you like, okay, Billy. Gotcha.
You mean Randy?
Right.
Randy's the guy, the movie guy that does all the
Yes,
rules?
Randy.
Okay.
Randy, look,
Figure it
guys.
out, guys. Don't worry.
I don't know the names. All right, I'm
This is the first
sorry.
time watching it.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Reset. Who's your favorite character,
I made
Clark?
so many mistakes. Randy. It's Randy, of course. I'll be.
And why do you like Randy so much?
Because more Clark Gaff's 2020.
All right, we're
No, I
leaving this
like
whole
Randy
bit in.
because
We're leaving this whole
he's
bit
not,
in.
He's not as good as I don't care. He's not as good as Stu, like at all. But he's got a little bit of the comedic banter with Stu going on, and he's also there to kind of inform us of these are the rules of the horror movie, and you can't break them. And like his moment when he gets up and he's like,
I've never
thought
been
you were
so
happy
happy
to
to
be
be
a virgin in my
alive.
life.
I've never thought I'd be so happy to be a virgin
in my life.
yes, yes, I'm never so happy to be a virgin in my life. Thank God I'm a virgin. Yeah,
Yeah, and then he gets
that's
punched by Billy right in the face.
quote.
I love it. I love it. I love that that perspective because Randy's also one of the only characters who actually gets to make it through all 1, 2, and 3 before they
Randy
did the
dies.
big fourth.
But if we want to talk about the best actor in the movie, that goes to Drew Barrymore, hands down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that gets the favorite character question that I always ask. Let's move into a segment that I'm making up for this episode called "Who Killed Who." I was while watching this movie for who knows how many times I've been watching it. I thought about the fact that like I've never seen it explained who killed who in this movie. We know who the killers are at the end of the movie, and we know who the victims are obviously as the movie's going on, but we never know which killer actually kills each victim. It's never just completely put out there in the movie. Now, Clark actually has some information that I think will be really fun, and I didn't know until we actually did our pre-meeting notes. So, Clark and Mimic, I think the way we agreed on this is I lay out one of the kills, Mimic tells us who he also thinks might have done the kill, and then Clark will tell us what Kevin Williamson said.
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Perfect. Clark, you're still with us
do
with
it.
that idea? Okay,
Let's
all right.
let's do it. Yeah.
Perfect. So, first kill in the movie was Casey Becker.
That's not true. First kill was Steve.
First kill is Steve at Casey Becker's house. It's at the same time. So, we're going to group those together. I think the killer was Billy. And the reason why I think that is because, I think the killer was Billy. Okay, so Stu was dumped by Casey, but was with Tatum that night. So Stu says, besides, I didn't kill anybody, to which Billy then responds, nobody said you did, and the way he makes his eyes or whatever. So I think this is Stu wanted Casey dead, which then lumps in Steve, because Steve was going to be there. So Billy kills both of them. That's my opinion. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and I mean, so they say, or Randy says Casey dumped Stu for Steve. So they used to date.
Right.
And so, like, the motive for Billy to do the killing wasn't, like, necessarily there, but Stu theoretically has the alibi, and, like, with Billy and Stu working together, it makes sense that it was Billy.
Yeah,
working on
Billy
Stu's
would get
behalf.
the kill, but also Stu would be happy because the bitch that he hated, right, Casey, is dead now. Because she dumped him for Steve. What does Kevin Williamson have to say about it, Clark?
So, first of all, I want to say this is not directly from Kevin Williamson. So
okay.
let's take this with a grain of salt, my friends, and we are free to speculate on whatever we think. But the murder of Casey and Steve was done by Stu.
Okay.
And the reasoning behind it was that Billy was smart. Stu was not smart enough to have made that phone call. Billy, however, is. And the murders were a bit more personal to Stu. And when Casey takes the mask off before she dies, she recognizes the killer.
Okay. So who, if it's not Kevin Williamson, who is this coming from? Is it just the internet?
It is the internet, and if you believe anything you read on the internet, it is not good.
I just want to make sure I know whose opinion is we're talking about whenever we give these out. Okay, so I like
Not
that.
a verified source. Let's
No.
just say that.
But I do. I mean, I like.
Unverified source who says this is what he says.
I do like hearing another side of it, and I mean, it does make sense. I did forget about the unmasking there right after the final, kill. Yeah, no, interesting. Good to hear from another side. Okay, so this isn't a kill in the movie, but this is when Sydney gets attacked. So if you remember right, she falls asleep on the couch after watching the news. She's waiting for Tatum to pick her up, and she is attacked by Ghostface.
Yeah, I found another thing. Scream Wiki, however good, but it says confirmed by Kevin Williamson that Stu made the phone calls to Casey and killed Steve, but Billy first attacked Casey, then Stu killed Casey.
So they were
apparently
both there.
both of them were there.
Okay.
Oh, so that was a
All of
double
those
team.
confirmed by Kevin Williamson.
Interesting. Okay.
Really?
According to the internet. According to the internet.
Yeah, according to the internet. So we have two opposing sides here saying what Kevin Williamson said then.
Mm-hmm.
I love this. This is great. Okay, so
I'm gonna go to I'm gonna find yours.
like I said, so Sydney fell asleep, whatever. She gets a call from Tatum, and then she gets a call from Ghostface, and then she is attacked by two, in my opinion, Ghostface. I think both of them were there that night. What says you, Mimi?
At Sydney's house, I think Stu was there to be Ghostface in that instance, and Billy was there to be at the window, throw off suspicion. Which, I mean, how well did that work out?
So he most likely made the phone call
Yeah.
and had,
And
and then they found the mask outside because maybe Billy dropped it.
Maybe Billy dropped it. Maybe it was like a red herring type thing. Just trying to throw off something. I mean, I don't know.
Remember, they were trying to fame her father.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if, they could have been going to plant some evidence, maybe, and
Yeah,
then
could be.
instead had to deal with whatever they had, so they rolled with it. They aren't the smartest kids, right? We know that.
No.
Clark, is that on your list, or is your list only kills?
No, it's from what I read, it's the same. It's just they were there to plant evidence.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, to kind of throw off the scent and put it on because he's the only one that touches the costume that night.
Right.
Oh wait, no, that was before.
So it was. Yeah, I guess. I mean, both of them would have had it, right? So the next kill that we're going to talk about is the principal. So the way I look at it, Stu was walking with the girls when they left the school, thanking Sydney for whatever she did to get him out. So I would say that left Billy to kill the principal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone-
That makes the most sense.
right? Okay. All sources say yes.
Yeah. So what about the bathroom attack? Who do you think did that one?
So bathroom attack, I think, was just a kid dressed up like Ghostface. That's my opinion, because they never really show any harm. I don't even think he had a knife when he jumped out of the stall.
Mimic?
I don't remember if he did or not. The one thing I did note from the bathroom attack is we see in multiple scenes Stu is wearing khaki chinos, and the killer, when his
Blue
feet
jeans.
dropped down from the toilet, was wearing blue jeans.
Yeah.
So if it was one of Billy or Stu, it had to have been Billy, unless Stu was just really fast at changing.
And actually thought about changing his whole outfit. That's a really good point.
Also, why would he wear
Because-
black boots with khakis? Because, I doubt he would bring separate shoes. It just would be a horrible look.
Yeah, I mean, that's also that's a really good point, because you never really see a killer change in this movie. You don't see a killer put on the costume and then
Right.
take off the costume. You either see them in costume or not in costume. You know what I mean? Like even later on at the house.
It was Dewey the whole time. Dewey didn't die.
That's actually the plot of Scary Movie, which is
I know it
which is
is. But he
great.
takes off the thing, and yes, that's what I was kind of lead segue into that. But yeah, because I've seen Scary Movie before this, but anyhow,
That's awesome. Okay, so
carrying on. I agree.
let's see. Stu's quoted to say it was just a misunderstanding. He didn't do anything. I don't know why I wrote that down. That was a note. Okay, so Stu sends Tatum to the garage. Is at the house party to grab him another beer, and then she gets killed, obviously by Billy, who then shows up to make up with Sydney. Right? Come on, that's an easy
Yeah,
one.
there's just no way Stu could have gotten where
Well,
he
he was the host of the party
Yeah.
too, so he'd have to have an alibi in that time. They'd know where somebody would know where he was.
I mean,
when
they were
Billy
watching
came
the
back
movie
in-
with everybody in the kitchen or in the
Yeah.
living room, so
Yep, he's
And
chilling in the.
he gave him that look, saying, "Yeah, I fucking did it." So it had to have been Billy.
Yeah,
I
Can we
think
talk
that one-
about this fucking kill on Tatum and just how
Yes.
nobody in this movie possibly could have understood how garage doors work?
Yes.
or how they look like Barbie doll faces when they get squished.
Yeah.
so
I mean, just like, so Tatum goes to open the garage. Ghostface closes it on her. She was close enough where she could have very easily triggered the little motion sensor thing, and the garage door would have gone back up. Right, and even again,
Wait,
the garage-
I don't think the garage door shouldn't have been that strong. The motor
Yeah.
on it.
there's motors on garage doors do not fucking work like that. They can't lift a human body, let alone smash them. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, you can see the Tatum's nips at the start of the scene, so that was pretty cool.
yeah, for a movie with no boobs, at least you get to see some nips.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my exact note about the garage was the garage scene's always been rough for me because I'm not sure it could actually lift a body. So I'm glad we're all on the same page about that. That's good.
It
You can't take pretty much showcase, hey, please don't take me seriously as soon as the party began. If
Yeah,
not
the
earlier.
fact that a bunch of high school kids are still partying after a bunch of murders and they should be worried, that right there just shows we're having a little bit more fun here with this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but I think that part is a little bit about like commentary on bad decisions made by horror movie characters often, right?
Yeah, especially teenagers in a horror film. Yeah. So I have a fun. The next one is kind of a fun little note. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Stu walks some of the guys out. Actually, it's a girl, her boyfriend, and another dude, and he kind of flirts with her, gives her a kiss on the cheek or the hand or whatever. And this is all shot from Kenny's perspective at the van, so it's a real far distance. But Stu walks them out, and then never returns to the living room where Randy answers the phone and learns about the principal's death. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, Billy's upstairs screwing Sydney at this point, and now Stu has put on, the cowl, and is running around as Ghostface, slaughtering people. So that would mean.
So the next kill is Kenny.
Yes.
So after a lot happens, kind of exposition wise, between this and this, but the next kill is Kenny, the film guy for Gale Weathers's
Yeah.
He's the filmer.
show.
Well, okay, so I do want to pause for a sec. So the reason why I was saying all that, and now, trying to reread through my notes from the other night. So Billy lets Stu stab him upstairs after he gets done banging Sydney. That was, I guess, my main point is, so Stu snuck away from everyone. Randy answers his phone. He's now explaining, movie stuff, whatever. He's drunk off his ass in the living room, which is so funny to watch him do that. Jamie Kennedy is, to me, one of the funniest actors in this film. And yeah, so Billy lets Stu stab him. I have that in double quotes because what we learn later on in the film. But then, so Stu goes and kills Kenny in the news van, which is probably, I don't know, that kill kind of makes me jump every time I see it just because the throat slitting is so good. I don't know about you guys what kills your favorite, but that one's pretty good for me.
Yeah, just the whole like scene setup, how they like established that the camera that they'd placed inside the party earlier had the delay, and then it's like he sees this, they're like concerned real time, and then all of a sudden it's like turns around, oh, the delay, boom, gotcha.
Yeah. Was he eating Cheetos? I think he's eating Cheetos.
I think it was
There was
tortilla
little
chips. I
spaceships.
was looking at tortilla chips.
Little spaceships. Okay.
They looked like he was eating Cheetos at one point, but I
He
think
might
that
have
was
been
when
going
Courtney
through.
talked.
Yeah. A couple different.
But then
brands.
he may have been. No.
When I say move it, that means move it. Step on
Billy
it.
was stabbed previously, and we don't see Billy again until much later, and he's coming down, and he's doing the whole "I'm weak," slowly going down the stairs to talk to his girlfriend. So,
Yep.
Yeah. So Stu kills Kenny. We're all pretty sure it's Stu.
yep.
Then Stu stabs Dewey in the back. That's the one
Yep.
that could be Billy, but I doubt it. Like, why would Billy? Because at this point, Sydney's being chased by Stu.
So here's the one thing with that is immediately after that we see Stu and Randy come from outside, and then Billy come from upstairs.
Right.
And it's not like Ghostface isn't fast and sneaky, and a lot of stuff has happened since. But like, I mean,
Well, if Sydney's being chased around outside by we don't know which one, I still think it'd be Stu. Billy could have
Yeah.
went downstairs, stabbed Dewey in the back, then went back upstairs to pretend to be hurt again.
mm-hmm.
But that's putting a lot on a guy risking being seen stabbed by somebody else in the house, right? I would think
Yeah.
Stu's doing all that magic. What do you think, Clark? Think Billy's fast enough?
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Okay, so Billy does come from upstairs faking his injury
I still think it kind of was. I still think it was Billy on that one, but
on the Dewey one.
on the Dewey.
Okay, I
think
like
so.
that.
I think so Dewey, scary movie universe. Let's say that they were all three in cahoots, and the whole knife in his back was a fake knife.
Maybe.
What if that were the actual sequel? Dewey still lives.
Well, and what's funny is in the later films, Dewey actually unfortunately, he takes the brunt of the damage in every one of these movies.
Yeah,
But he does.
But he never dies.
He dies. He dies eventually.
No, he never
he never
dies.
does.
In all 4 films, he gets his ass handed to him every single movie, hand over, every movie.
He like ends every movie in the hospital. I'm pretty sure.
It's almost like a running joke in the film series, which makes sense, right? The franchise. But yeah, dude, he just from 2 on, he has a limp from this stab. And then, he just adds more scars on his face over time, more scars on his arms. Like, he just gets his ass kicked every film. It sucks. Oh, but anyway. All right, anyways. So Billy lets Randy in. He picks Randy because we have Stu and Randy and Sydney. Stu's like, come on, it's him, let me in. And then Randy's like, no, it's him, let me in. And then Billy's like, fuck you both. He opens the door, because Stu's now gone, pulls Randy in, shuts the door, and then he hits his famous line in the movie, which is actually, it's a quote from Psycho, which is, we all go a little mad sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then shoots Randy. And I have to say, Anthony Perkins pulling that line out right there was some stellar writing by Kevin Williamson. Stellar writing.
Yeah, that was really good. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Yes. And then pow. And then, at this point, we know who the killers are now. Stu shows up with the voice box, and now everyone knows who the killers are. But that's kind of our take on who killed who. And I'll say that's the end of that segment. We can continue talking about different areas of the film, but I really wanted to do that. I thought that would be fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Clark and Mimic, I hope you guys enjoyed that along with the listeners. And we'll try to do more stuff like that.
I enjoy it, and I enjoy scary movies.
I tell you this now almost every other episode.
What
We need you doing sound bites with your voices. You do really good voice acting.
What are you wearing, Curtis?
Khakis. All right.
I like khakis. Aren't those
She
the pants?
sounds
She sounds hideous. All right. Anyhow, moving onward, I wanted to kind of get back into. So I wanted to talk about Scary Movie real quick because
Okay.
I've never seen this whole movie from start to finish. I've seen bits and pieces. The first Scream movie I saw was Scream 3, and then I saw Scream 2 later on, and it just never
Interesting how you saw them.
saw the
because
first one
Scream
until now.
3 is my least favorite.
Because
Out
it
of the
makes
series.
no fucking sense at all.
Yeah. But
I
anyways,
didn't-
Yep.
Anyhow,
Yep.
so I watched Scary Movie for the first time, the first one, in like 2008 ish, which is kind of past its birthday. It's like old at that point.
Yeah.
I always thought that there was a scene in the original Scream movie where the bad guy is the doofy looking sheriff guy. And I always thought that was the case.
That's actually really
This movie.
good.
And then I didn't see it happen. And I didn't, so that's why I was kind of bringing it up the whole time. And it just didn't happen. I was just like, what? What? Is this the Mandela effect? Or.
This is quite
I remember that.
quite possibly my
I remember
favorite
that.
Clark moment on this show because you didn't do anything wrong. Like Scary Movie is such a good ripoff, right, and parody film of this movie
Yeah,
and a
I
couple
mean-
other movies from this time. It's pretty much all Kevin Williams movies, if I remember right. That you actually fell for the Dewey trap. That's great. This is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, no. The Dewey, his name was Doofy, I think, in Scary
It was
Movie.
Doofy in Scary Movie. Yeah.
Doofy, and I love that name because Dewey is Doofy, and the fact that he's a character in the movie really upsets me, and the
I'm sure David Arquette
make out with
loves-
Courtney Cox also really offends me too. Like, no, people like you know. Stop. You're not real. You're not real. Just haunts me.
I'm gonna have to cut my laughing because I can't stop. It's just too much.
No, I just started crying. Just people like that aren't real, okay?
You were duped.
You were
Ever.
the Dewey trap. This is a thing now.
He was duped.
Ah, that's good.
Now that I know he gets hurt in every movie, it just makes me feel even worse for him. Just like this
All
poor
right.
guy. Nobody respects him. He became a police officer. His sister basically makes him look bad in front of the rest of the force. The only love he ever is from a news reporter. It's this poor guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple of things that I wrote down that I want to ask you guys about to see if you noticed it as well.
Yeah.
Three things specifically. So one is, did you notice Ghostface stalking the girls in the grocery store?
Yeah. That was really confusing to me because like the whole town is on the lookout for this dude and I get like people were kind of like locked up already, but you're telling me nobody saw him in the grocery store?
There are a bunch of people messing with them.
Yeah,
Very true.
So
And like they said, you can find that costume at any five and dime around the state, right?
yeah.
But I still think someone would have called the cops had they seen him stalking them like that in the grocery store, specifically. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I always thought it was kind of cool because it's not something everyone picks up on the first time they watch the movie. I'm not sure if Clark saw his reflection in the frozen food window.
or breakfast sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah, when they're buying popsicles or whatever for the party. So,
Yeah. I saw him behind them.
nice.
I
and
gotta be
then-
honest, last
yeah.
night was the first time I saw it when I was watching the movie.
So last night was the first time I remember seeing it since I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how many times I've seen it. I might have seen it and just not put two and two together. But of course, when you have your analyzing eyes on, you see
Mm-hmm.
everything a little bit different, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm writing that shit down.
Yeah.
So there's another one which I thought was kind of cool. There's two more of those types of moments that I thought were kind of cool. One is when Tatum and Sydney are talking outside of, I think it's Sid's house still. And Tatum's like, they're playing the music out from the window or whatever. And Tatum's talking about how, her mom was a slut and all that stuff. And then Ghostface is walking in the bushes. I mean, they pan over and zoom in on him.
Yeah.
To make a point. I mean,
So,
I like that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. But the other one that I thought was really funny is when Ghostface is walking in the living room and Randy's yelling at the TV, "Behind you, turn around." I laugh so hard every time because then Kenny,
Every time.
then Kenny and Sydney are yelling in the truck to telling Randy to look behind him, and I'm just like, that's it. This is it. This is the best part of the movie. I can't do much better than this. I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
No, it's a great segment. I think it sets up. One of the things I really like about this movie is just how well it's paced, right, and how well tension is built and like maintained throughout the whole sequences. It starts with the opening and just like that whole party scene too is like you're coming up, you're thinking Randy's gonna get it, Randy's gonna get it, Randy's gonna get it. Boom, left on a cliffhanger. Then you're like in a moment of calm, and then psych, Kenny is got. They killed Kenny, those bastards.
So that I can't. Clark, stop sending me stuff during the show.
I knew it. So
What the fuck?
well, under the scenes, I send Curtis shit trying to make him break character on the show sometimes.
And you did.
And it worked this time.
You did good.
All right.
So the last thing I want to bring up, this is my last point, my last bullet point. Besides Roger Jackson's voice being the best voice and the only voice ever used for Ghostface, that includes all of the movies and the shitty TV show that came out. We could talk about the TV show some other time. I can give you my opinion on it, but season 1 was good. Everything else after that is garbage. Okay, so when Billy drops the line about Sidney's mother sleeping with his dad, causing his mom to leave, Stu looks so surprised. Like, he didn't even know that was a part of Billy's motives. When they initially, had this bro pact to do this thing, Stu looks absolutely floored. And I just want to see if you guys picked up on that and what you guys think about that.
Yeah, I mean, I always think Stu just looks so shocked, and like, because I think he bought into the whole motives are incidental conversation, which was had earlier by
The
Randy.
movie story, yep.
Yeah, with Randy, Stu, and Billy. And I just think it's a good callback to at the school when Billy confronts Sydney after getting out of jail. He's like, what did I say? He's like, when my mom left my dad, I accepted it. She's not coming back. No, you fucking didn't. You didn't accept it. You, in fact, did the exact opposite of accepting it.
That's actually a really good point. I didn't have that written down in my note.
I thought he just made it up on the spot. He was just kind of pulling it out of his ass. I didn't know if he was telling the truth with that story.
Well, it's interesting because Tatum talks about how the whole town has been gossiping about Sydney's mother for a long time, sleeping with many different people. She doesn't count, or say a number, but you're led to believe that Sydney's mother was, Maureen Prescott was a whore and she was sleeping around. And this, if anything, this just kind of solidifies that, yeah, for sure. She was definitely banging Sydney's dad, right? She was definitely, which is the right person for her to be banging, I guess, in this case. But then she's sleeping with Cotton Weary and now Billy's dad. So that's just 3 dudes in this small town of Woodsboro. It's just crazy. I think poor Stu got the short end of the stick here once again. Not the brightest crayon in the box, sharpest tool in the shed, but still my favorite character in this film. And that's really all I have to say about it. Do you guys have anything else that you guys want to talk about when it comes to Scream?
Like I brought up before, I just think the movie's paced so well with the beginning. Tension is just built and built and built. And then, like, she gets, it comes to the questioning. Like, Steve's tied up outside. I said, who's the killer in Friday the 13th? And, like, even horror fans, if you ask who's the Friday the 13th killer, you're going to say Jason, right? Like, he is the mascot, one of the horror mascots. But boom, trick question, Mrs. Voorhees, Pamela. Fucking,
Yeah.
I just thought that was really good. Nice little,
Even some good horror buffs could get caught off guard, right?
right. And then just a couple really awesome effects with the kills. On the Casey Becker kill when she pulls the mask off, but it pans to the knife, right? I just think that's such a great effect because, she gets that moment of realization what's happening, but nobody else does. I just think that's really good. And then I know you live tweeted when you were doing your live tweet of Scream, Curtis. You talked about how when the principal is killed, Henry Winkler is killed, they do the reflection of Ghostface in the eye. That's just another really awesome effect.
One of my favorites in all of horror.
Yeah.
I really like reflection off of eyes in general. I like, I really love artistic shots of eyes. I think eyes are really interesting. So whenever you use eyes in movies, I get really excited. I think it's really cool. Like Blade Runner, I talk about that a lot. Clark's probably tired of hearing me talk about that movie. The eyes in, what did we watch a couple weeks ago? Screamers, right? So the eyes in Screamers had some things going on with them. But yeah, stuff like that I really dig. I think it's kind of cool. Reflections. Phantasm has some really cool reflections off of the balls. Stuff like that. Cool. Let's see. Clark, do you got anything else, buddy old pal, before I...
It's a fun movie.
It is a
Enjoyed.
fun movie. Cool.
I can't believe this is your first time ever seeing it.
Yep. First time seeing it. I in terms of Cabin in the Woods is probably my favorite. So when I see this movie, I've been spoiled by all the other movies like this that have been made since. And I know this movie was kind of the first to do it, but I kind of got to it at the end, like to where like there've been other things that kind of touched on it a little bit more.
Well, I mean, we brought it up episode 26. There's nothing out there, right? We talked about that a little bit. How I think Scream came out 5 years after that film, and I think kind of spoils that film for me because I can't watch There's Nothing Out There and go, oh, this is the original film to really do that meta trope. I look at Scream as, for me, that was the pioneer. That was the first movie that had ever done it, in my opinion. But yeah, There's Nothing Out There was definitely the first film to do it, and might have even done it a little bit better in some ways.
I think the difference between Scream and There's Nothing Out There, though, is the kind of the commentary on horror movies in general. And There's Nothing Out There, it was just everybody kind of denying there being this monster when it was pretty obvious and blatantly so in certain points of the film that there was.
Not to mention the fact that the killer in the movie is this alien and not an actual slasher. I think the killer in this movie is by far better.
No, it's a sex swamp monster versus a guy who has a Kmart, Halloween costume.
And misses his mommy.
Hey man,
Does he not have a goddamn phone? He's got a cell phone telephone. Can't I look his mom up and try to get her number or something?
Right? You can't just call her? God.
I'm pretty sure he just made that story up so he could kill people.
So, Kevin Williamson. I don't know if
right now.
everyone listening or you guys even know if you checked out his IMDb page, but just scrolling through that, I didn't realize how many things that he's actually worked on that I actually appreciate.
Oh, really?
So he did his first film that he wrote that got done was Scream. He moved on and then did I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream 2 the following year. Wrote The Faculty in 98 the following year after that. Those 4 movies right there are like my childhood first horror films in a nutshell, which is quite amazing. But he also did Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I've never watched Wasteland. Scream 3, he's credited for the characters. He didn't actually touch that one. Glory Days I've never seen. Dawson's Creek, which was a huge 90s show. For me, I know I watched a little bit of it, just it being on TV. But you have that same opening where Billy comes through the window, and then in Dawson's Creek, whatever the main character dude's name is, goes through his girlfriend's window or whatever. I always thought that was a really funny polarity. I didn't realize that Kevin Williamson was the creator of that show. And then my favorite werewolf film, Cursed, was written by him. And then he comes back for Scream 4 and then a bunch of other stuff. But my favorite thing that we're going to get to one day, I hope, is Scream 5. So it's in pre-production, potentially to be released in 2021, and I really hope they don't mess this up. Guys, opinions on another Scream movie coming out? What do you guys think? Is 4 enough? You think a 5th is needed?
I was pleasantly surprised by 4. I think it's going to get tough keeping up with the characters, right? I thought 4 was like
instead of having eventually. 2 killers. Yeah. So instead of having 2 killers, do something like 5. I don't know, like not to make it too crazy, but if you've Hot Fuzz, like where it's the whole town is in on it, I'd like something like that. You know, just make it scary.
So he wanted to do that for Scream 4, where it was going to be like a cult following, but Kevin Williamson actually got denied that rights. I think that was for Scream 3, when it's only 1 killer in that movie, by the way. But it's probably, in my opinion, and I hope in most people's opinions, because I hope that is how everyone else feels, is the worst one out of the series, just because of how ridiculous the story is.
Yeah, and like I get in some ways 3 is supposed to be ridiculous. That's kind of what they talk about.
Yeah, trilogy has to outdo the others, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I wish Kevin Williamson would have got to do his cult thing. Instead, he went off and did a TV show called The Following on Fox with Kevin Bacon, which I loved. I thought it was great. And if that was literally going to be the premise of Scream 3, that would have made a great film. I think the show was a little long, a little bit outplayed. It was a good show, but anyways, not to digress too far into the show, I think it could have made a really great movie. And I hope Scream 5 maybe pulls more into that. I hope
maybe that's what they end up doing.
We'll see. Yeah, 2021.
Mickey and Mrs. Loomis.
Mrs. Loomis and Nikki in 2 were, I think,
on the comeback.
A really great combo. One's dead, right? In 2, Mrs. Loomis gets shot and killed. Doesn't Nikki also? Die. Yeah, both of them die. So
both of them die.
Sadly, they can't come back. But you never know. Maybe Sid snaps in 5 and she's the killer.
We'll just write them in. We'll write them in.
Zombies. Yeah, Scream 5, zombies.
Uh-oh, zombies.
I mean, honestly, I really hope Sidney snaps one of these days. Or Dewey, with all the pain and punishment that guy's been through. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that brings us towards the end of our episode, where we usually like to do 3 things. One is plug our social medias, which I already kind of did at the beginning, and I'd rather leave this spot just for Mimic to give him a couple seconds to remind everyone what the hell he's doing in life.
It's your girl Mimi out here. So I stream on Twitch 6 days a week. Have new YouTube videos every Saturday at 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. During this era. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all Mimic the Idiot, all one word. Make really bad puns and jokes about my own inadequacies. So that's fun. Currently, I was till the end of April. I don't know when this episode's going to come out, but running a fundraiser for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. We just passed the $200 mark raised, so I don't know how many people who are in on the fundraiser would ever watch or listen to this, but thank you to everybody who has given money so far. I really do appreciate that we've been able to do some really cool stuff with charities on my channel, and continue to support this podcast because I like this podcast. I listen to it every week. So yeah.
Thanks, Mimi.
Well, your inadequacies don't exist, Mimic. You're a beautiful human being. I respect you, no matter what Curtis says about you when you're not around.
Which is only positive things.
Yeah, so... Oh, just kidding. No, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you wanna share with us?
I not really. It's
Cool.
it's quarantine time, so staying busy has been hard. Even though I'm an essential worker, I've never felt so important in my life. Um, but yeah, just trying to stay busy, stay
Well,
positive.
if you don't mind, we'll throw out a quick plug for us, and then Curtis, do you want to talk about what you've been up to lately before we move on to the kind of plug and everything?
Yeah, let's do that real quick. So today I actually
What have you been doing lately?
I decided to watch It and It Chapter 2. So the remakes of the original TV film based on Stephen King's novel. And, I enjoy It. I think it's really good. It Chapter 2, on the other hand, kind of left me a little bit lackluster. I think we need to do a future episode on this stuff. But yeah, my quick review would just
Okay.
be that it was good. It Chapter 2 was meh. It was all right. I don't really like some of the things that happened, but the book, I want to read the book now. I think that'll clear up some of the mysteries to me. But yeah.
I think discussion on the podcast before too, before you saw chapter 2 when I did. I definitely agree with you there. Mimic, what you got?
I was just gonna say it's a weird fucking book, like most of Stephen King's books. But
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not like Stephen King's adaptation for the ending, but I don't know what else you could have done. I've been playing this game with a very close friend of mine. It's called Stardew Valley.
woo,
I know we talk about games here quite a bit, and sorry to those members of the audience who don't like video games. But we've been farming, we've been saving up money. We're trying to save the town and the community center, and I find it very relaxing. Kind of take a break from the work.
Stardew Valley is one of my favorite games. I love Stardew Valley. I've put a couple hundred hours.
You should join us.
We do
I
have
might.
room on our farm.
Speaking of games, I need horror game recommendations.
Okay.
Horror game recommendations.
That's not Dead by Daylight because it's got to be a single player.
Alien
Yes.
Isolation.
That's a good one.
What if I'm really, really scared of that one?
You asked for horror games. I cannot give you anything that is a better horror game at this moment unless you want to play Dead Space.
That one I
Okay.
think might be a bit much as well, in the sense of it's very similar to Alien Isolation to me.
I've played Dead Space though, but just from what I've seen about Alien Isolation, like the not having the ability to fight back as much.
You get guns.
Well, yeah, but it's not the same.
You fight humans.
Have you ever
It's-
played
yeah.
Alan Wake's, what is it, Alan Wake's Nightmare or Alan Wake, the first one?
No.
So I really like Alan Wake. You're basically a writer. You go away because you want to focus on your writing for a while, and you basically your wife gets taken. You don't know what's going on, and you get zapped into this. It's kind of like an underverse type feel, where you're battling shadows with a flashlight for the most part.
Yep.
There's more action and fighting to it, but it's an amazing story. Jump scares throughout, which is kind of how you have to do it in video games for the most part.
It is an indie game, so just understand that the game itself has a lot of technical issues here and there, but it's definitely worth it. It's more narrative in terms of horror, not really if you want to avoid super level. Also recommend Amnesia.
Yeah. Amnesia's been on my list for a while, but I just smacked my microphone. But I'm a huge pussy.
Yeah.
So
Another
Me
one
too.
that I love is Layers of Fear.
Took me 2 years to
which
pass
is a good
the.
one. Took you 2 years, Clark, to get past it?
The water part, yeah. No, if I'm scared and I get scared of something and there's nobody to play it with me, I will just back away. And I got my sister to sit with me for a bit, and I was able to beat it. And I was like, "Can you just sit right next to me while I play this game?" Because I cannot beat this alone.
Yeah. So let's recap those horror games for anyone who is listening that likes games and also likes horror and maybe wants to try some of these together. I mentioned Layers of Fear and Alan Wake. There's also Alan Wake's American Nightmare, which I think is supposed to be like a sequel or something. I don't know. I haven't played it yet on Steam, but I own it. So those are the two mentions from me, those Layers of Fear and Alan Wake. Clark, you mentioned Amnesia.
Yeah. So like, if you want a horror game, I would say Alien Isolation
Okay.
would be, and then yeah, Amnesia or what was the one of them? I had one more. Oh well. We can listen and find out.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, you want to plug the social media?
Yeah, let's do it. So you can find us on both Instagram and Twitter at the number 2 guys horror, or find us or contact us on Gmail through our sexy email address at 2guysandsamehorror, fully spelled at gmail.com.
Yes, sir. And as
That
always,
isn't some horror at
thank you.
gmail.com.
Thank you guys for listening. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye. Just like a bitch slap. It was like front hand, backhand, front hand again, and then I ran away.
I have a boyfriend, and he plays football, and he's big.
And he can kick your ass.